Oh, howdy all, grab yourselves a beer. It is time for some Path of Exile, and in this video I want to talk theory and practice of crafting cold damage bows. So specifically what I'm looking for here is the dexterity stacking type of bow. And I want to just quickly jump across to the Path of Exile database, PoEDB website. This has a whole lot of data mined information. It's an absolute goldmine. It lets you have a look at various configurations of fossils you're considering using on a particular item. So I've selected a bow, and this is a list. It's an exhaustive list of all the mods that can roll on bows. So you've got all your prefixes that can roll standard, all your suffixes that can roll standard, and the highest level that the bow can be to change what can roll. So you'll see here lightning resist, which is a mod you basically never want. The highest tier of that becomes available at item level 84, so that's the of Ephige. Not a particularly good roll. Also has information data mined from the game files as to how likely the rolls are to come up. And here you'll see 500. That's basically the number of tickets in a raffle, is the way that I tend to think of it. So it's like you've got 500 tickets that all say of Ephige, 500 of the lightning, 500 of the maelstrom, 500 of the tempest, and so on and so forth. Now, all of them also have tags, so you got attack, physical, attack fire, attack elemental, and so on. And those are interacted with by fossils. So an aberrant fossil gives you more chaos modifiers, no lightning modifiers. That means that anything that's got chaos on it has a dramatically increased chance to roll. And anything that has a, for this case, lightning tag will be impossible to roll. In any case, that's the starting point of the normal rolls that can become available. Next we have the Shaper and Elder rolls, and because this is a bow, the Shaper rolls just outclass the Elder ones. You have access to Socketed Gems Chain +1 time, which is an incredible roll, but the one that we really care about, added cold damage to attacks with this weapon per 10 dexterity. It's only 200, which is a fairly low probability to come up, but it's not staggeringly rare, but it's not super common either. And what we're trying to do is increase that as much as we can. So we're going to start with frigid and prismatic fossils. Frigid fossils give you more cold and less fire. Well, no fire. So that makes all the cold rolls 10 times as likely. Prismatics, more elemental. That's actually 5 times, so and that includes cold. So if it's got an elemental tag, it's 10 times as likely to roll. If it's got a cold, lightning, or fire tag, it's 5 times as likely to roll. And the no fire modifiers trumps the more elemental modifiers affecting fire. It also blocks all poison and bleeding modifiers, which is good because we don't want any of them. But we're going to do a little bit more. You'll notice that there's a hell of a lot of rolls that involve physical damage. We actually don't want any physical damage on our bow. The reason for that is that physical damage doesn't scale very well on cold damage builds. And metallic fossils allow us to block that, at the cost of adding more lightning modifiers. Now, lightning damage is not going to scale very well. So, if you had a roll like electrocuting, even though it's quite a good roll, or heart stopping, these are quite good rolls normally, but they just don't synergize with the way that a cold damage dexterity stacking bow build is going to be scaling their damage. So what we're going to do now is add in one last roll, which is this one here, Aberrant Fossil, which then adds more chaos and obliterates all the lightning mods from the pool. You'll notice now that the prefixes are very restrictive. We have adds cold damage, and this +2 indicates that 2 fossils are increasing the chance for all of these rolls. This actually is multiplied by 50, so this is essentially a 70,000. This is a roll of 70,000 tickets in the raffle. This would be just shy of, this would be 24.5 thousand, and even this, a very rare crystallizing roll, even this has a 6,300 weighting now. We have Edwa, which is a pretty rare roll and is always nice to get, but it's only going to be 3,000, so it's not very likely. It's 10 times because it's an elemental roll. But then we've got the one that we care about, and this is at 10,000. That's about as high as I can get it, and also, well, I mean, without using serrated fossils, which are really expensive. And so that's going to be what we're going to go for. We've still got a lot of things that we need to get in the suffixes. But one of the tricks with crafting is that you have meta mods as an option to address your suffixes later. In any case, that's why I've selected the fossils I've chosen. So without any further ado, I'm going to jump back into the game client, and at this point, we're going to make 5 attempts. So I picked up this bow. This is a item level 85 Imperial bow. The reason I've chosen an Imperial bow, I did a bit of analysis. Each bow has a balance between its critical strike chance, its attacks per second, and I'll just scour this because the mods on it are bad, but it does have a couple that muddy the waters. You'll see it's 1.45 attacks per second, which is the second highest you can get. It has a 5% critical strike chance, which is low. Some other bows go as high as 7.5%. And it has 24% increased elemental damage with attack skills. So I'll call that Edwa for short. In any case, this is the starting point. I've gone with this bow over the other options because the 24% increased elemental damage with attack skills, for the people that are doing ultra deep delving, it makes it so that when they do score a crit, which they're going to be scoring a lot of them, it is much more likely to freeze ultra high hit point monsters. And that's the reason that I've gone with this over the other alternatives. I will just quickly do the silly thing of... Oh, good, that gets rid of that stupid prophecy too. Do this while it's... Well, I was going to say while it only cost me 4 blacksmith's whetstones, but would have been 1 whenever I did it. Now, so we've got an aberrant, a frigid, a metallic, and a prismatic, as we discussed before. And I'm just going to socket 1 of each. These cost about 40 chaos per attempt at the moment, and that is 30 to 31 for the 4 socket resonators, and then about 8 for the prismatics, and then the rest of them are all trash. Like, they're very cheap, but it adds up to about 40, maybe 42. First attempt. Okay, we have damage penetrates 7% elemental resistances as a shape of suffix. We have damage penetrates 17% cold resistance as a delve prefix. We have a low tier of added cold damage and basically an all-round bad item. This is a piece of junk, but it is interesting. I didn't know that you could get both the Shaper penetration and the Delve penetration on the same item, and so I was quite interested to see that. I thought they would be mutually exclusive, but they're not. In any case, that item was a pile of junk. It didn't have the dexterity stacking mod, and so it can just go the hell away. Curse with Despair on hit is useless, unfortunately, and adds cold damage, but it's a low roll. Again, this is just a piece of garbage. Glaciated Tier 4, that really needs to be Tier 1 to be good, or Tier 2, and there's a big difference between Tiers 1 and 2 as well. So anyways, that one goes away. You'll notice I'm not pre-stacking all of my resonators. The reason for that is if I hit something great and I want to stop, I don't want to feel obliged... Well, I want to be able to pull out the rest of the things from the resonators, the fossils. Okay, we still haven't got the rolls we're looking for, but here we've got an interesting one. You'll notice 111% increased elemental damage. That is the top tier prefix for prismatic fossils. That is a very, very good roll, and if I had got that without having the... Sorry, if I had got that with the dexterity stacking roll, then we would be stopping here. However, I didn't. I only got that one roll, and this is not worth doing any further crafting on. Any further crafting is going to be really expensive, and it's just not worth it. One of the difficult things to get used to with crafting is knowing when it's worth scouring your base and when it's not. Okay, that's utter rubbish, and this time we've got a prime, because it's a prime resonator, we're just going to throw everything in it. Oh, sorry, it's a chaotic resonator, not an alchemical. We're going to throw everything in it. And here we go. This is our last chance. We want to hit that dexterity stacking mod. We didn't hit that dexterity stacking mod. We've actually got... Yeah, we don't... This isn't a powerful item all around, unfortunately. It's got 2 very good mods. It's got the both of the prismatic tier 1 rolls. So that is the 80 to 120% increased elemental damage, and attacks with this weapon penetrate 16 to 20% elemental resistances. If that chilled mod was instead the mod we were looking for, the shaper specific mod, then this would have been a great bow. Unfortunately, it's not, and that is just the way that the cookie crumbles. It is the case that you will see the rolls that you don't want, because there are something like 10 different tiers. In fact, I'm just going to bring up the relevant information. You see there are 10 tiers of flat cold damage to attacks, and these add up, their weightings add up to 7, so that's 9,800. This one here puts it to about 11,000, so it's 10,920. Adding this is 11,410, and adding this is 11,536. 11,536 versus only 200 here. So you're only going to get this mod approximately 1 in 55 to, no, 1 in about 58 of your prefixes. Well, no, let's be more precise about that. You're about 58 times as likely to get one of these prefixes on for any given prefix as you are to get this one. Of course, you can get both of them at once, which would be ideal. In any case, we didn't have any luck hitting it today, but that doesn't mean that it's not worth trying. If you do hit a miracle bow with the dexterity stacking mod on it, then you will have something very, very valuable. In any case, that's another crafting video. If you got any questions, fire away below. Otherwise, I hope you have a good one.